Hello, everybody. I'm Travis Chadwick, Logs 3 on the Southern Area Gray Team. And the purpose of this presentation is to explain the ordering function on IMT and prepare each of you for the upcoming Western fire season. This process can be unfamiliar to individuals who have not been on an IMT before, or people that might be stepping up into a new role on an IMT that's going to involve the ordering process more. So what I saw last season was a disconnect from ops and logs and dispatch when it came to the ordering resources. This led to long conversations between the ORDM and the dispatch, which led to long conversations between the ordering manager and ops and logs. This tied up those individuals way too long and in turn made them less effective. So on fires like the Bull Complex, where cell and internet were mostly unavailable, especially early on, the issue escalated dramatically. So we're going to go over this and hopefully learn a little bit and get a clear understanding of the ordering process and make the team run more efficiently and professionally. So there's five categories depending on what you're ordering. Overhead, equipment, supplies, crew, or aviation comms. Now there will be an ordering email for each incident we go to. Examples 2021.greenridge.ordering@firenet.gov, where you can submit your general messages. So whenever you write a general message, you need to pass this up the chain of command, or at least communicate your needs to your supervisor, make sure they're aware. This prevents duplicate orders and is especially important from an operations and logistics standpoint. Ideally, you want to anticipate needs 2 to 3 days in advance and communicate that to your unit leaders or planning ops chief using a general message. Then they can submit orders at a designated time each day to ordering, where they can be processed and sent to dispatch. The last thing is we want to understand terminology and typing. So we basically just review and understand equipment typing and common terminology. This will ensure that your general message is clear and will be understood by the ordering manager and dispatch. So here's 2 links that will guide you in selecting the type of equipment or contractor that you might need. These links will also be in the description of the YouTube video for this presentation. Most dozers, masticators, and excavators are typed by horsepower. Engines are typically typed by tank size and gallons per minute output and so forth. The links above are going to provide the terminology for each piece of equipment, what they are capable of, and what their specs will be. So take some time, follow these links, and get familiar with this and how it relates to your section. Requesting the wrong resource or type of resource can waste time and money and cause your objectives to go unmet or take longer to meet. And it's not fun to tell a resource that there was a mistake on our end and we can't use them and must demob them on arrival. Here's 2 common types of general message you'll see and use. The one on the left is the most common general message you're going to be using out in the field. The one on the right is for overhead, but there are similar ones for the other categories like equipment and crews. You may see different forms of general messages for ordering resources. Depending on which dispatch you're working for, they all have different preferences. So seeing these other types of general messages will not be uncommon. Now here's a quick checklist for your name request. If you want to bring on Bobby Sue or whoever from the home unit, then make sure you are following the checklist and the ordering manager doesn't have to track down your resources, and make sure they're available and ready to go. Verify with the person beforehand that you're requesting, and make sure they're available, local in IROC. And if they are a trainee or a priority trainee, make that known in your general message. And also verify with the person if they have approval from the supervisor before requesting them. So here's a good example of a name request with a solid justification for ordering this resource by name. And this is the kind of justification that the region, the dispatch is going to see and understand and approve this name request. So how and why to justify your general message. A lot of times the justification will determine if you get what you're requesting and how fast it will get there. Remember, we're a type 3 team. Often if we're in a higher PL, the region will prioritize incidents that are type 1 and 2 over a type 3 incident, which means it is more critical to justify the request. When your justification for requesting something includes critical objectives, COVID mitigation, or safety concerns, it's likely to get approved and filled quicker. So how can we justify our request? First, you want to identify a need by explaining the importance of the request and how it relates to an objective, a safety concern, or a critical need. The more specific you can be in your general message, the easier it is to justify and fill that order. So for name request justification, you need to explain why this person specifically is needed, especially if they are coming from outside the GAC that you're working in. This also plays into the priority level and available resources. In some cases, a resource will need to be shopped inside the GAC and go unfilled before they will approve a name request. An example is, let's say you need to send up a request for a COML where it'll be passed around to all the regional dispatches, and it will probably go unfilled because it's COML. At that point, you can proceed with the name request if you know a COML that's available. Here's an example of an equipment request. It has a good justification and great detail on what the person is specifically requesting. This is going to help the buying team identify vendors and get the correct equipment to the field faster. Here's another example of an equipment request, a little bit different general message style. So as a division or a task force leader, you might have contractors that are working for you. It's not uncommon for a contract company to have multiple pieces of equipment and operators that can be used on the incident. So this was a case where the contractor saw the need for a piece of equipment. Here is the type 2 excavator that he had available back home that he knew of, and an operator for it that would help make this rehab they were doing on the Lick Creek fire go smoother. And he shared that information with his supervisor in ops. So when we're working on a type 3 team, we do not have the capability to set up contracts for this equipment. So we must use Ames procurement or a designated buying team for that incident. And when this is the case, we need to be specific about possible contractors available to fill these requests. This will help AIMS or the buying team identify a source and speed up the ordering process. It's not always ideal. We're in a new region. We don't always know the local contractors, but in this case, one stepped forward and was able to help out. Alright, so the big takeaways here is what information is needed in your GM. Hopefully this presentation, you become familiar with the information needed on a GM to ordering, what you can do to justify your request, and I want to encourage everyone to follow the links in the description of the video and get familiar with the typing and terminology for what is available to you.